Hello folks, today is Friday, December 31st, 2021. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news, but we're actually on holiday break. And like every year, we kind of do a roundup, look back, talk about the biggest gaming news stories of the year. So just for a second, if you guys have been around watching this show, we do it every single Friday. We never take a day off. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you've been having fun like we do. It's our favorite thing to make. Since this is right before New Year, I hope you and your family and your loved ones and everybody has a nice 2022. Good luck, go get them. But let's talk about the news. Even though on the one hand it may have seemed like a quiet year for gaming news, there was quite a couple of big things. The first story that we should highlight is the fact that the Star Wars EA exclusivity is starting to come to an end. This is something that a lot of people missed, but it's pretty huge. Along with a couple of other small things like this year, like an MLB baseball game releasing on Xbox, there's some industry deal shifts happening, and the Star Wars EA thing is the biggest, specifically with it being confirmed that it's a 10-year deal and it is wrapping up because it started in 2013, and now the new games announced that aren't being developed by EA are slated for probably 2023 at this point. So, on the one hand, EA has said that they are doubling down on making Star Wars games. Other people are starting to work on Star Wars games. Of course, it's been confirmed this year that Ubisoft is making a Star Wars adventure game with their Snowdrop engine. And just a few weeks ago at the Game Awards, we got an official announcement of a game called Star Wars Eclipse, and that is being developed by the Quantic Dream people, the people behind Detroit Become Human, Heavy Rain, stuff like that. So, for far too long, Star Wars was restricted to just being made by EA, and I don't think that worked out so well. I miss the old days where we had crazy new Star Wars games every day, basically. There was a kart racer, there was a battler, there was a fighting game, there was a isometric kind of Diablo-style game, there was a... We could keep going. Remember Super Bombad Racing? Jesus, I know.
That was a dark period.
So while it's not necessarily over and done with right now, EA is not making Star Wars, like that's not the case. We are starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I thought it was worth highlighting. Moving on this year, a big gaming story that like everybody forgot about immediately. Do you remember Abandoned?
Yeah.
Oh man. So Abandoned, and like we're guilty of getting excited about this too. Abandoned is seemingly an unfortunate indie developer who were teasing their next new big game called Abandoned, and it was a shit show. A lot of people thought it was going to be the next Hideo Kojima game. A lot of people thought it was going to be Silent Hills, thanks to a bunch of internet conspiracy theory stuff, but also the developers not doing themselves any favors and definitely trying to play coy with all of this. It ended up just kind of culminating in them releasing an app for PlayStation 5 that gave us a real-time trailer, and the trailer was just a dude walking. And that's it. The developer does have a history of not making a lot of games. It's still very curious, like why Sony is getting involved with this developer and letting them do stuff like this. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's Hideo Kojima's next game or a Silent Hills game. But it really took the internet by crazy storm for a couple of weeks, where it was all everybody was talking about and speculating. And just like how it goes, attention moves very quickly, and it was like a flash in the pan. And now looking back, I feel like I wasted a lot of my time. Also, the GameStop stuff. That actually happened this year. Can you believe that? God, it's been such a long year. But the GameStop short squeeze, the GameStonk stuff, really came to a head in 2020. Yeah, I said GameStonk out loud. That didn't feel good. That stuff came to a head this year with GameStop's stock reaching record heights, seemingly almost feeling like a glitch because of people starting to understand how the stock market works. And it led to just some craziness and wild headlines for a couple of weeks, with a lot of people assuming that GameStop is saved. And no, not necessarily. That's not really the case, but they did get new leadership and they have been changing things up, and a lot of people did make a lot of money from this, but the short squeeze also boned a lot of people. It's like the Star Wars crawl, where it's like there were heroes on both sides. It was a messy thing. I'm not smart enough to explain it all, but I am willing to just look back and go, wow, that was crazy. This will be a good conversation though in the comments. So were you in on that mess? Did you get wrapped up in that? Did you make out good? Let us know. We're not the feds. We won't tell anybody. Also, keeping this one short because it has been talked to death, but one of the biggest stories of the year was Rockstar swinging and missing with the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition. I personally was really excited about it. A lot of people were, and they totally just did not give it the care and attention that it needed, and it released in a pretty undercooked shape. And it was really disappointing to a lot of people. If you saw our Before You Buy, I said that there were some parts of it I actually still managed to like, but ultimately, it deserved so much more care than this. Like, that trilogy is on such a pedestal. What happened? It's being updated, so we'll see where that goes in 2022. But another big news story was this year we got the official confirmation, after it had long been rumored, Valve's Steam Deck. It's a piece of hardware that we are incredibly excited about. Now, we've been thinking about it all year since it was announced. Essentially, it is Steam's handheld device. It is a Nintendo Switch-like device that will play your Steam library. It will play real PC games, not streaming them. It will legit play them, seemingly at decent settings. Some of the stuff put out about it so far, they have been very transparent about it. All of it has been incredibly exciting. I've used these types of devices before, but usually they're like Chinese and really expensive. The Aya Neo is one of them. The potential is awesome. Your PC games on the go is so cool. So with that now being pushed into 2022, that's one thing, but all year we've been thinking about it. We've been talking about all the news updates for it, and we're going to keep being excited for it. Can't help it, man. We just like hardware here. But moving on in other news, more serious news, a reckoning for Activision Blizzard, who was sued by the state of California for unfair business practices. All kinds of bad things on the board for them, discrimination, sexual harassment, stuff like that, and it has led to developers and employees striking and boycotting, as well as fans boycotting. It's been a wild thing, and it's seemingly such a big deal with so many reports and stuff. It's even hit mainstream news. I've had like family members ask me like, what's going on with that company? Which you don't see every day, and honestly, this story is still ongoing. Companies, Activision, Ubisoft and stuff have made changes, but seemingly there's still more work to be done. Also, in other news, it's something that we haven't talked about a lot this year, but it is still really huge, too crazy to ignore. The GameStar citizen that endlessly worked on Game has reached a new level of funding. It has hit over $400 million. That is like 3.3 million people backing the game and over $400 million. That is insane. And this game has been in the works for so long and so incredibly ambitious. It's almost become a meme at this point. A lot of people dunk on it. It has released certain experiences and stuff here and there. It seems like the people backing it are still happy, so hey, whatever, you spend your money how you want. But we just have to point out how absolutely staggering that is. So like in the hardcore gaming community, we may not talk about a game like that all the time, but there are still bubbles and other pockets of gaming out there, seemingly, and they have a lot of spending money, but it was worth highlighting. One of the other biggest news stories this year in general was game delays. Now, it started last year, and I had always said to kind of expect more because of the way the pandemic has affected development and people having to work from home and learn how that is. It's kind of resulted in a bottleneck and a little bit of a slowdown altogether, small companies, big companies, and the delays kept coming this year. The list is really big. Stray, Diablo Immortal, Life is Strange Remastered Collection, Ghostwire Tokyo, Steam Deck, Playdate, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, Vampire the Masquerade, the sequel, Prince of Persia The Sands of Time remake, The Lord of the Rings Gollum, Resident Evil Reverse, Hogwarts Legacy, Gran Turismo 7, Gotham Knights, God of War Ragnarok, Midnight Suns, Saints Row, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, Shovel Knight Dig, Horizon Forbidden West, Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, King of Fighters 15, Dying Light 2, Rainbow Six Extraction, Sifu, and more. While it is unfortunate that a lot of our games have been pushed, I think we've all seen a lot of upsets recently, from the Grand Theft Auto thing to Battlefield to Cyberpunk last year, where I feel like we're all willing to wait and let our games have plenty of time in the oven and come out great and get all the care and attention that they need. So all these delays, fine. So be it. It worked out for Halo. There was a lot of concerns about Halo, and then they pushed the game a whole year, and it turned out to be pretty cool, so there's that. And speaking of Halo, that's our next big story. I think this is one of the biggest stories of the year, just industry-wise, the fact that Halo multiplayer went free-to-play. That's big and unexpected, and it's like a legacy franchise kind of doing the new thing, the new trend. It's worked out for so many other titles and competitive stuff, from Fortnite, Apex Legends, on and on. There's so many of them now. And Halo is the newest one. You can call it the newest victim if you don't like the free-to-play model, but there seemingly has been a little bit of growing pains with it, some things they need to learn. If you remember when the free-to-play multiplayer launched, it was a surprise launch, which was cool, but it had some issues with the battle pass, the way the progression worked, and it seems like all that stuff is being ironed out. We kind of wish that was figured out before it released, but for something like Halo to go free-to-play, now I think all bets are off. Anything can happen. I don't want to be alarmist or anything, but I just I'm paying attention to the trends and, figured we'd present it.
Halo free to play, more like Halo
P to play.
P3 to play.
And of course, one of the biggest stories this year, and if you go back and watch this version of this video that we did for 2020, it's the same thing. The fact that the next generation consoles are still pretty hard to come by. So graphics cards like the 3080, the Xbox Series X, and most significantly the PlayStation 5, people have been having a real hard time getting their hands on them because they are in short supply. We've talked in the past about scalpers and bots trying to gobble those things up and resell them for more money, which sucks. It's just such a Grinch thing to do. The United States is introducing a bill to outlaw scalper bots for stuff like that. We'll see where that goes, but it has resulted in the second holiday season in a row, a lot of kids out there maybe not getting that PS5 under their tree. They're still trickling out. People are getting them, but seemingly they're still not meeting the demand. Interestingly enough, these consoles are still breaking records, but they just can't put out enough. Last year, it was the chip shortages. This year, it's the supply chain issues that have been affecting the world, basically. So it's really like a 1-2 punch, and that's unfortunate. So I think all I can see for that is a lot of developers are still going to make games that are both for Xbox One and Xbox Series X and PS4 and PS5, just because the reality is that a lot of people are still on those consoles. We've talked about this stuff all year though, so I just hope it gets better next year, and I hope that everybody out there who wants to get their hands on these things can easily. But those are some of our biggest stories in gaming news from 2021. There's a lot more out there. Like, remember everybody arguing over the Nintendo Switch Pro, and it turned out to be an OLED. There's so many other stories we didn't have time to cover, so I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What was one of the craziest, biggest news things for you to happen this year? Were you surprised at how bad GTA was? Were you surprised that this company got bought by this company? Because that always happens. Like, what from this year really shocked you? What surprised you? What made you excited? And what made you feel disappointed? We'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. There's definitely a lot to talk about, so hit us up. Also, we'll be down there in the comments, but if you want to yell at me directly, of course, you can always find me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at Jake Baldino. That is not Jack Baldini, like my mailman always seems to get it wrong, but hey, what are you going to do? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for an excellent 2021. We really appreciate you guys showing up and watching. It puts food on our table, so thank you. I'm Jake Baldino. See you guys next year. Pizza's on me.